2. Back here at Beef O'Brady's here in Granger. It's the 29th annual Indiana High School Football Kickoff Show. I am joined here with Josh Shattuck, the head coach of the Elkhart Lions. And Coach, it's a weird year for everyone, but especially for Elkhart in their first year as a conjoined school. Honestly, couldn't have asked for a better season, though. 9-1 in the regular season and 4-0 in the conference, in the NIC, and then, of course, getting all the way to semi-state until falling to Maryville, which, as Paul said in his interview, I think that's the toughest I've seen anyone play Maryville. But as you look back on that season, obviously, first season as a conjoined school, and given the uncertainty of everything that happened, what is the one thing that you're most proud of from a program perspective, given everything that's happened?
Sure. I was just so proud of how our kids bonded together. Obviously, the merger of Central Memorial, you have fierce rivals. I mean, a lot of people don't understand how fierce that rivalry was. Two teams, same school district, big schools, not in the same conference, play week 1 every year. So those kids had grown to not like each other from a football perspective. And so to merge together and have some of the cohesiveness we had was really good. I was also really pleased at how quickly our players developed our scheme. We didn't have an off season, put our scheme in. We didn't have a summer. I mean, we had most of the month of July, and that was it. So I was really pleased with just how much they bought in on the schematic side as well.
And as you said, talking about the summer, last summer's workouts obviously must have been completely different than this past summer, almost to the point where it felt like this summer was a true summer workout. When you look back from this last summer to this summer that has just happened, what is the biggest thing that changed in terms of how you approached it, knowing that you probably didn't have to follow as many restrictions or guidelines? What was the biggest thing that changed for you and how the kids grew over the summer?
Well, last year it was way less about like sets and reps in the weight room or like practice planning. It was more about how can we stay 6 feet apart? How can we get everybody in here? How do we check them in and do all that? And then this year it's more just operating our program like a normal year, which for us, this is really year 1 of us operating our program the way that we'd like. So, our lifting structure changed, obviously, the number of kids we can have in the weight room, that sort of thing changed. And then we were able to just kind of operate the way that we normally would want to.
So coming from, because as you said, from the two different schools and it eventually conjoined, after having that, because it can be awkward, you have kids that you competed against and also kids that you grew to have coached before. Now that you're going to be in your second season with some of these kids, is there anything from a coaching mindset that is going to be changing? In year 1 you kind of had to adjust to two kids who big time rivalry, now we're on the same team. Is there anything from a coaching perspective that's going to change now that you've gotten year 1 under your belt?
No, I think we're further along with our operation. I think football's football, but the time it took, we were very vanilla, especially early in the year. We had 1 month to install our entire system, and then both sides of the ball, special teams, you name it. And now we've just had more time. We have a year from last year of practicing it, and then now we have an off-season, spring workouts into summer workouts, and now the first couple weeks of in-season football. So I think we're just further along on the football side, which makes it really nice.
And then, of course, you do lose players such as Derek Woods and Rodney McGraw, but you still bring back some extremely talented players like Donovan Johnson and Javen Lowe. When it comes to the players and the growth, are there any specific players or anyone that you really think are going to step into a leadership role and help this Elkhart team, great first season, but try to continue that success to build a tradition here for the Lions?
Yeah, we lost 19 senior starters. We lost 19 starters to graduation. We had 34 seniors, so it was a big senior class, very talented senior class. Division I players, Rodney McGraw at Penn State, Tyron Mason at Western Michigan, obviously Derek Woods at Grand Valley, Division II, and a slew of other guys who are playing college ball at various D2s and D3s. So we can't replace that talent. I'm not going to sit up here and lie and say we have a bunch of Division I players taking their spots, but we still have very talented players. Obviously Donovan Johnson and Javen Lowe, the two kids we had here today at the show, the kickoff show, returning starters, all conference players. And then Danya Higgins returns at slot receiver for us, which those are the 3 guys. But we have some very, very talented players. Both of our tackles I feel really good about. Raekwon Lemons and Braden Jellison, they're both big physical kids, juniors. We have our quarterback, Brady Kruper, has had an amazing offseason. He's gotten bigger. He's 6'1", maybe even 6'1.5", and closer to 200 pounds. He's a good quarterback. Rodney Gates is going to be a huge player for us at X receiver into the boundary. He was on the 4x1 team in track that finished 5th in the state. So he's athletic. And we just have a slew of other kids that are athletic. They just haven't maybe played varsity football, or people don't know their names yet, but we still feel really good about those guys.
And Coach, given everything that's happened, and hopefully with this season kind of starting to feel like a normal season unlike last year, what is the number one thing? Also, you open up against Concord, which should be a good first test for your team in this new season. What is the one thing that you want the kids to learn and take away from this upcoming season? What do you want them to learn from this season?
Well, we just want to build off of our core values. I mean, and every program's got sayings and things like that, and ours is light the torch, and it's tradition, order, reliability, character, and heart. We define those things very clearly for our kids. And we want it to fit our mission statement, which is to provide an unparalleled experience for our student athletes in our program. So, that sounds like coach speak, but we really measure our program, take the temperature on it, on those 5 core values. And so it's not just about this year's team. We want our kids to work through our program. And if they're in our program for 4 years in high school, we want to spit out high school graduates. We want to spit out college kids. We want to spit out kids who are going to go be workers in their communities and be leaders. And so we feel strongly about those 5 core values, and if we're doing our job, then the wins will come with that.
And once again, that's Josh Shattuck, head coach for the Elkhart Lions. Coach, always a pleasure to get to talk to you, and best of luck this season.
Awesome. Thank you.